Hey guys, it's me, and we're doing some drawing today. Today we're working on this poster that I made for Firefly that is currently available for sale over at the shop. Check the link in the description. We're doing this because they say that art is a valid form of therapy, so we'll see. Because I'm in desperate need of it after finishing Firefly. I'm doing this in Photoshop. My school pays for Photoshop. It's like covered in the tuition. Aside from Photoshop, I also use Paint Tool SI and Clip Studio Paint, but I genuinely prefer Photoshop. I really like it. I think it's a great program. I've been drawing digitally for about 10 years. Now here, I'm trying out this new brush. I picked it out because I really like the name. The name of the brush is Badass Brush. I was trying something new. I had been kind of going through a block, and I remembered a piece of advice. It was something like, hey, are you stuck? Just play with a new brush, and then, you'll find yourself inspired. So I picked a brand new brush. I picked out one. I scribbled with it for like a second, and I was like, ooh, like right away. I especially really like the line weight that this brush uses. It's very, very good. It's very intuitive, is what it is. So when I started this, I knew that I wanted it to be a wanted poster. As for like the style, I hadn't determined that until like after I was doing the line art. Like before that, it was just sketching all the portraits, which, oh man, that was an undertaking. Because even though a lot of my art focuses on people, I still struggle with, I suppose, accurate portraits. What I do are more or less caricatures. So I was trying to figure out like a style that worked. And what I eventually landed on, thanks to the aid of this brush I found, it's a bit more comic booky. And I really like that, which once I realized that, yeah, like because of this brush, like it looks like it belongs in a comic book, that's what then led me to the decision to use screen tones for the rendering, the coloring and the shading. Mal took forever to sketch first. I kept stepping away from him to practice playing the guitar. I just started learning guitar like a couple of weeks ago. And I'm still trying to deal with the fact that I suck. I hate sucking at new things. I'm more than willing to put the work in, but it's first there's the trial of getting over, the emotions that stem from not being good at something right away. Even though, like silly me, it took me a long time to get to even this level of skill in drawing, but my stubborn ass like refuses to acknowledge that about anything else. I did mention that I am in school. I'm in art school, and my classes focus on traditional art as in traditional medium. On paper. Holding a tangible brush in my hand. So it's a learning curve when you try to learn how to transfer those skills over to digital art, because you can't really interact with your tools the same way. You got to get creative, which is, people that make brushes are a godsend. Because I could, achieve something similar to this with like a real ink brush, but this is where I prefer working digitally. I don't have the patience in me to work with a real ink brush. Oh, this river here, I am particularly proud of. I love how she turned out. She was also especially hard. Um, it's her eyes, her super expressive eyes. And like I think I went through like 5 drafts of her, And the version you're looking of her sketch is so much cleaner than everybody else's. And that's because I just kept deleting it over and over and over. Where everybody else, you can, still see the earlier phases of sketches like underneath the final sketch. Hers, I just kept deleting it over and over and over again because I just wasn't happy. Here we are with the screen tones. And all these brushes I use are for free. I'll have them listed in the description if you're interested. I tried different methods. Some of them I've seen other artists on YouTube use, such as actually selecting the area you plan to fill in for the shading, but in the end I just went with my usual method, which was, to literally draw it on. I really liked how Mal came together in the end. Like, everybody's not 100% accurate, but I feel I captured enough of their character, their persona in the illustrations that they still read through as to who they are. That being said, I think my portrait of Zoe, Gina Torres, is probably the most accurate when it comes to, the actual face. Normally, whenever I record these videos, you don't tend to see the sketching process because the sketching process is the longest. Because I could be at it for days. And, and it's not like I'm just sitting in one spot drawing for, hours at a time. It's frequently broken up with breaks. I'm either going to the bathroom, I'm sitting there eating, or I'm sitting there like just literally staring at the canvas for hours and hours, trying to figure out why it's just not working. Or I do things like, step away. That's usually like the big thing that helps whenever you're stuck and you don't like how something looks. Literally just step away, go look at anything else for, a significant amount of time. So when you come back, you got fresh eyes that don't focus so much on the tiny details. You get a better idea of what's missing, what's off. Wash, I made his shirt, actually have the hint of a design because because that's what his character had. His character had like these fun, kind of flashy Hawaiian shirts. And I feel if I didn't include that, he would have just been a guy in a t-shirt. Or not a t-shirt, but, just a shirt. Which is not him. I liked what I did for myself here with the contrast of Kaylee having an arm, sticking out. Like, she's fully posed as waving high, whereas everybody else is, not static, but they are, standing still. And I felt it was much more honest to the character to have her, performing, some form of action. Which, it makes the all-together composition much more interesting. Because if it was just everybody, as if they were, in a lineup, it would be, incredibly boring. Jane, what I did for Jane is I was thinking that it had to be more like a mugshot. Where everybody else is, they're posed for their picture being taken. Whereas Jane, it's just straight up mugshot. Because out of everybody on Serenity, he is the most unrepentant of his actions. Not to say he, hasn't, felt shame for anything he's done, but the crime in general that they commit, I would say he's the least sorry. Inara, I sweated over Inara for a while because I mean all the ladies on this show are just very beautiful. Even the ladies that are like not of the main cast. But like Miranda Bakarin, there's just something so God, I don't even know what the word is, but she's like luminescent. Like she's just strikingly beautiful. And I wanted to capture that like just right. Annoyingly, at some point, I guess I forgot to keep recording. Because there were like breaks, you know, in between certain phases of this illustration, and I guess at one point I forgot to press record. So I'll just show you the images here to talk just a little bit about my process for the remaining 3 portraits. Out of everybody, Book was the easiest. Because even though the character himself was very interesting, his I don't want to say character design because he was a, or maybe I do. Never mind. I was gonna say don't say character design. He's a real person, but no, he played a character and the character had a design. His character design was very simple. It was pretty easy. You know, he had his his vestments and he had his hair pulled back. So yeah, that was a cinch. I had that down. And I liked the idea of him just kind of, you know, looking at you over his shoulder, just letting you know that, hey, you know, I'm still here. I'm still looking over you. Oh, God. I'm about to make myself sad. Simon was a trial. Part of that is because of how handsome Sean Marr is. However, because I'm so new to drawing someone so freaking handsome, he just kind of he kind of kept coming out looking like James Van Der Beek. And I think even now he still kind of looks like James Van Der Beek, but I think I did, you know, pretty well in the end anyway. I'd say like when you put him against the ensemble of everybody else, you're like, yeah, that's Simon. To toot my own horn, I absolutely will toot my own horn. I think I did great on his hair. His hair looks fabulous. And speaking of fabulous hair, that brings us to River. This is where I wish I did, like, you know, manage to keep recording because her hair was a process. But before I talk about her hair, I want to talk about her pose here. How I have her posed here, in my mind, capture, like, you know, what she was like. When I was initially sketching her, I was gonna have her be like kind of spooky and intense, but River really at her core was, you know, a 17-year-old girl who, you know, has gone through some trauma and is being given the chance to, you know, catch up and be a girl. So just picture her standing on her little tippy toes somewhere, just kind of gently swaying back and forth, arms behind her back, as she, you know, bears the weight of the universe around her. So that's how I have her pose there. You can kind of see there, with the way her shoulders are slumped, that her hands are behind her back. Simple dress, and then her hair. Oh my gosh. So I loved how River's hair was always, you know, messy. In my mind, I picture it that after everything she went through, probably the last thing she wants is the invasive feeling of, you know, hair bristles running through her hair, you know, going along her scalp. So, oh my gosh, sketching her hair, that was a whole other battle. So because it was messy, I was trying to figure out how to, you know, make it look messy, but like still read as hair. But in the end, I think I did a pretty good job. You can see how, like, you know, it's just, you know, it's all over the place, but it's still, you know, this one simple shape of hair. And her eyes were definitely a challenge. Because like I said, I started this sketch thinking that, you know, I wanted her to look, you know, kind of spooky. But in the end, I softened them, and everybody else, I made the conscious decision, you know, here, where, like, up till this point, everybody is looking straight ahead, you know, looking at the camera, so to speak. And then when it came to River, after I decided I didn't want her to be spooky, I just wanted her, you know, soft and relaxed and feeling like a girl. Just kind of looking off to the side, you know, just kind of lost in her own thoughts. And then as we pull out here, so like I mentioned, I knew I wanted this to be a wanted poster, but I was kind of making it up as I went along what style of wanted poster I wanted this to be. So after I had like initially shaded everybody in, it was just going to be, you know, the simple, you know, monochromatic black to white, you know, with screen tones, but I was like, that's boring. So I layered texture after texture to give it this kind of, you know, old stained paper texture, and I had cut it out of all the portraits, you know, so that the portraits could still read. And then here's the end result, and then I'm very, very proud of it. I think I did a great job. I love how this looks like a comic book cover, or like, you know, an insert within a comic book, if this were a comic book about Firefly. So thank you so much for spending time with me, you know, letting me talk about my process a little bit. And if you would like this as a print, it's currently available for a limited time until end of day September 15th. You just gotta click the link in the description. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye.